The views and opinions on the Craig L. Hayes Show do not necessarily reflect those of Westgate Resorts, ownership, or management. And now, on with the show. This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
And we're back with the Bashes. And we're going to continue on. Al Bash was going to tell a little story about my dad because they go back a long ways, back to early 1960s in the business. So, Al, why don't you tell a story about my dad? You were going to start talking, and I cut the show off.
Well, there's a few things in your life that are memorable. And John and I were, and three other people, but John and I were working at Circus Circus, putting in the counterweight system in the showroom. And we were one of three that were working on a floating scaffolding, mounting T-bar on the wall. And the scaffolding started low, and then you would crank it up like a window washer on the side of a building, and we would work our way up the building. And at that time, safety harnesses and so on just weren't something that was used. Safety wasn't the main concern. OSHA wasn't is involved, and so you just worked. You just did the job on the scaffolding without safety harnesses, but you felt fairly comfortable. No hand railing on the front side because that's where you were mounting the T-bar, and you needed the room. We were probably 30 feet in the air. John was on one end of the scaffolding, I was on the other, and the third person, which I can't think of what his name was standing next to John and lost his balance. And I looked over, and you could not have reacted any faster. John reached out, grabbed him around the chest, and pulled him back up onto the scaffolding as he was starting to topple over the scaffolding because of no railing. And I thought, wow, what reflexes this guy has. And I've never forgot that, how he just reached out and just put his arm around him and pulled him back up onto the scaffolding as he was falling, and he would have fallen 30 feet. Today you wear safety belts and you're harnessed into things, but at that time you didn't. Many situations, and no one seemed to really get hurt, but it's much better the way it is today.
Yeah, I have to agree. Yeah, it's anytime you go over, 4 or 6 feet, you're supposed to be harnessed or latched into something.
Not then, though, you didn't.
No.
Back in the 60s, 70s,
Well, in the
OSHA.
in the 60s, there was no OSHA, so yeah, there was.
It wasn't forced on you. And
Yeah.
we used to, when I was rigging, we didn't have harnesses for a long time, crawling around on beams, and then we came up with the belt harnesses, and now you have to wear the full harnesses. So it's all changed. I can't imagine what they used to do in the 60s. Just craziness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who was it you were telling me at the Rotunda used the winch on his pickup truck and they ended up picking the truck up?
Trying to put the name. We were mounting some equipment in the top of the rotunda, which isn't there anymore, cannot think of the name of the family, and I will. But we were lifting this equipment, and he brought in his Dodge Power Wagon, the old military type Power Wagon, with a winch on the front, and started paying out the cable, climbed up into the beam in the top of the rotunda, hung a pulley, and dropped the cable down to hoist this unit to the top. Started lifting it. The winch drive shaft broke, locking the winch with the piece about 30 feet, 25 feet in the air, truck dangling by the back wheels, and the job was stopped until he got the winch fixed so that he could lower the piece back down and put more weight in the truck to raise the piece,
It picked the front of the truck up,
pick
right?
the
Yeah.
front of the truck up,
So it was like a dog on his back legs on a wall.
dangling
hanging?
there. And if you give me a minute, I'll come up with the name of the family that was there. But I have to think about it for a minute.
Wow, that'd been funny to watch.
Yeah.
And you have to say, as stagehands, we do some
It was
pretty.
Wayne Turner.
Wayne Turner.
Wayne Turner. And Floyd Turner was the brother.
Oh,
But it was
the
Wayne
Turners.
Turner's
The
Dodge Power Wagon.
The Turners, and for the Turners were a big family here, and the Turner family was a big name during them days, and up until probably the 90s, they were a big name, the Turners.
Oh, yeah. No, I worked with Pat and Chris Turner over at
Yeah,
the Desert Inn
Yeah, they were a big name, and Floyd
in Bally's.
and that. Lifted their truck up, huh?
Lifted the front wheels off the ground, and it was hanging there, and it couldn't go up or down because it broke the drive shaft. So they had to go get a new U-joint, and it's hanging in the middle of the rotunda.
That had to be funny. Did you get any pictures of it? That would have been great.
No,
Don't
no
do
phones
this.
back then. Yeah.
They didn't have instant cameras.
No phone cameras?
No, and I can tell you another one that was Danny Statlander, who was the power in theater, in construction. His studios, and I was called in as probably a pretty young apprentice, but pretty knowledgeable about motors and limit switches. And I was called to the convention center because I was pretty knowledgeable to work for Danny Statlander setting limit switches. So I walk in the room, and he's a straightforward, blunt speaking kind of person. And he says, "Can you set limits?" And I said, "Yes, I can." He said, "Well, they're up there." And a person come out with a piece of square tubing with rungs, ladder rungs welded onto the square tubing, about 25 feet tall, with a hook on the end. And he
Sounds familiar, huh?
and he reached up and hooked it onto the truss work that was there and said, "The limits are up there, go set them." And I climbed up this piece of bent tubing, making a ladder to there, and spent the rest of the day moving around on there because it was not rigged correctly so that it would even work.
Oh, it didn't work?
It would work after I left it, but not before. Set the limits and some of the cables.
So when you're on, did you stay on the ladder?
No, I got to move up onto the truss,
Up on the top?
up on the top.
Okay.
This is not a truss like they use today, though. This is a truss of a piece of 2-inch tubing made into a 1 foot thick truss on edge. And I crawled around on this, rebuilding the contour curtain.
You know what Paul Bruce did to me at the Stardust one time? Is we're working the show and the back curtain comes in. I don't know. I'm just a young kid. I don't know what I'm doing. Curtain comes in. It hangs up on the air conditioning deck that's 30 foot in the air. And he says, "How are we going to get this?" He looked at me. Paul Bruce looks at me and says, "Climb up there, go over there, and throw the curtain off." And I says, huh? He says, yeah. I said, okay. And I climb up this thing, and I'm walking on this air conditioning deck, and I'm going,
Clunk,
oh,
clunk.
this is kind of soft. Oh, this is kind of soft. Oh, am I going to go through this? And so I get the curtain off, and I come back down, and he says, thanks, and walked away. I said, really? Seton Pulley. We're over at the Thomas and Mack. And we're doing rigging up in Thomas and Mack top, and he's walking there. It's a big round air conditioning deck, and he's walking down the air conditioning deck, and he falls through it, and his arms get caught on it, and we he had to pull himself out, and he got off the air conditioning deck and never got back up on there.
Yeah, and that's why safety is much better today. Because now you wear harnesses, you don't walk on the air conditioning ducts, except if you step through the roof somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
Had that happen here a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oops.
But he was safe.
He was safe.
That's the important
He
part.
didn't hit the ground or chairs or.
So let's do a couple things here. Just young Pat, some of the acts that you worked with over there at what used to be Bally's. I know you did Jubilee for a long
I
time.
worked Jubilee for a long time. When I was at the Desert Inn, we had Barry Manilow was over there, Frank Sinatra. We did quite a few other acts over there, and then I went over to Bally's, and then all I did was a Jubilee show. And then they started bringing a few stars in. Had George Carlin there. George Carlin was great. Red Dog, which was part of the Grateful Dead. Kenny Chesney, he did a number there. Chris Rock, Sinbad did a stint as a comedy.
Oh, it was Dice Clay was there too.
He was more in
No,
your
he was
room.
in my room. He was
Dice
in the
Clay was
celebrity
in the celebrity room,
Okay,
and
so
Pat was in
It,
there.
it was someone was there because he was coming here and you guys had his carpet or something and we had to go over and get it or
Yeah,
I met you over there and you know.
Yeah, he was in the celebrity room at that time. Once they closed the celebrity room, they did a few in the Jubilee
You had
Theater.
Penn and Teller in there.
Penn and Teller,
Penn and Teller.
yeah, which I've gone and worked their show over at the Rio numerous times. But yeah, no, I spent more time as just head carpenter of the Jubilee show,
Okay.
which as an 11-year-old kid, I was in the shop watching them build it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I became in charge of it. And I was told, well, we're going to give you the head carpenter job, but if you get in trouble, we know you can call your dad. And what?
Randy Cardinal was the head carpenter there.
Right before me.
Before him, and actually Randy Carpenter told the hotel that he should be the head carpenter there when Randy left. And so when Randy left, they offered it to Pat and he took it.
Good deal.
He was the youngest head carpenter on the strip.
I was the youngest head carpenter of the largest union crew of the longest running show on the strip, and I was head carpenter. I was there 24 years. I was head carpenter about 18 years until they closed the show.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was one of the younger ones too. Here I was 31 or 32 when I came as head carpenter here in this room. But yeah, when I heard you were hired, I said, "Oh, there's even younger." Yeah.
and we had two Pat Bashes as head carpenters in rooms right next to each other
In the
Yeah.
same hotel
in the same hotel.
and 30 foot away from each
So
other.
you know the fun part for the Howard Bens, and go to Bally's and report to Pat Bash. Which room? Oh, I don't know. Just go
Yeah.
have these guys go back and forth trying to figure out where they're supposed to be.
And I kept trying to give my dad a call. Hey, come in, work just once. And he would look at me and go, no, you'll yell at me. No. He would not take a call from me.
I hear you say you were the youngest this or you were the youngest that, and I was the youngest member to hold a head of department job.
Yeah. Well, you started it all, so.
I was the youngest member to hold a head of department job. Actually, I was a junior member at that time, And no junior member ever held a head of department until me.
Didn't you get into trouble because of your abilities?
Many times I got into trouble. Yes, with, many times. I would just leave that that many.
Yeah, youth. It's just youth.
No, this wasn't youth. This was more of abilities, more of drama, more of other members feeling they're being left out because they don't have the ability to do what he was doing. And
To elaborate on the story, I come here fresh out of high school, where you had a certain amount of time to do a certain amount of things, and you did it. And I went to Bye Bye Birdie at the Riviera for Bob Jones, and they were putting in the show, and I am there on a union call, my very first call as a working stagehand to put in a new show. The
this is
crew
a good
there,
story.
the crew there was very good, but waited to be told what to do. So I started telling people what to do. And
Sounds like a bash attitude, don't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
I would tell them what to do. And they thought I was with the show in charge. And I started taking over and telling people what to do. Well, a year later, I was at the Tropicana, and these people were there, and they found out that I was a permit telling them what to do. Needless to say, they made life very hard for me at the Tropicana, where I was indeed a new member working. They made my life very hard, and in fact, the head carpenter had to come in and get them off of my case, because everything I did was scrutinized by these people. And so if you go on a brand new job, don't tell everybody what to do. And I still am like that.
Yeah, but the whole thing comes down to this. There are people who are going to be leaders, and there are people who are going to be followers. You're not a follower. You're not a follower. I'm not a follower. You know, we were raised in our family. You know, take charge, get going, make something
done.
happen, get it going.
Get it done.
You know. So we were in that vein. You guys were in that vein. I'm sorry, it's just what we do. It's
What we do.
yeah. We go in there and we take over, because it's like, you know, I'm a good follower. If I go onto a job and the guy is, okay, here's what we're going to do, I'll follow you all day. But, you know, I've gone, did extra work out on the bounce, and you see what's going on the bounce when they're setting stuff up, and you go and you look at the plans that they're coming off of, and whoever's in charge just isn't taking charge. You go, that goes there, this goes over here,
That's right.
this goes over there, and can we get going on this? You know, because everyone's standing around like waiting. No, let's turn some wheels. Let's go. You know?
Move on.
No, I've tried to go in some places and be the assistant,
It don't work.
and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, and I just sort of get tired of standing there, and I'm like, okay, hey, let's go do this, this, and this, and suddenly it's, oh crap, now I'm in charge again.
Did you ever experience, or any of you guys, I've had guys over the years work here, and then I was called out to help on a place over at Mandalay Bay, and some of the guys that came in here that were pretty young were now the head carpenters on some of these conventions, and I'd show up and they would just stare and go, I don't know what to tell you what to do. I'm not used to telling you, tell us what to do. And I go, what do you need done?
Yeah.
Just tell me what you want done. I see there's a lot of pipe and drape up here. Do we need to get rid of that? Yeah. You want me to do that? Yeah. Oh. It's like, come on, just tell me what to do. Let's go. Come on, chop, chop.
I worked a show one time that it was for Paul Terrell, and it was over at the Mirage, I think it was, and went in to take the show out. Big convention show. And Paul's standing there, and I said hi to Paul, because I've worked with him on the road during Ford Motor Company and that. And he comes up to me and says, okay, this is your head carpenter and this and that. And I said, okay. And so I went over to the head carpenter, started talking. and Paul goes over to his boss and says, watch this. And I heard this, and I'm thinking, why? Why would you say that? And within 15 minutes, I had moved his head carpenter out of the way and proceeded and finishing doing the job to get it done, to get it out the door. And Paul knew what was going to happen. Soon as I walked in and he said here, and I just took it over. We got the show out before it was supposed to, and the trucks were loaded, and
Okay. And does this happen because we go in there with the idea, I'm taking this whole thing? No.
no,
It just happens.
it just happens.
Because it's like, can we turn these wheels, get them going? Come on, guys.
What can we do to motivate them,
Yeah.
to get them moving, and give them directions on what needs to happen instead of someone has to give the directions, and if you don't do it, then nobody usually does.
Yeah.
And I think we learned that from my brother, and I think it goes back to my mom and the whole family and how we were raised to let's just get it done.
Yeah.
Look at the big picture.
Take charge and do it. If no one's going to do it, take charge and get going. The worst that's going to happen is someone's going to chew on you a little bit and say, don't do that again. All right,
It
whatever.
almost lost him the ability to become a member of 720 because of it.
Yeah, different times now.
But it's a good story.
Yeah, it's a great story. So,
We just kind of chug along, and we've all worked in the shows. We've all worked all over, and we just keep going. With your family, with some of the big families back in the 60s, 70s. But life has changed, and how life has changed through the union. The abilities have changed in the union, and now the union has gone more convention than shows, and it has nothing to do with anything other than just time.
yeah.
And it's pretty crazy. The kids come up, they have a different attitude, that they know everything, and you can't tell them what to do. And
Because we knew everything.
we knew everything.
Yeah.
You did, I didn't.
No, we did. We thought we did. You did too, and so
I
did
just
you.
made it up.
Yeah.
I just faked it, and everybody believed me.
But you listen,
That's no different.
but you listen to your superiors, and then you just went off and did what you said. My uncle, Pat Huffine, told me one time, he says, you may have a better idea, but when I tell you to do something, this is how I want you to do it, because if it's wrong, I'm gonna get in trouble, not you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that made perfect sense, you listen to someone in their opinion, but at the end of the day, the head, whoever the head is, he's the one that's gonna take the responsibility. If something happens wrong, he's gotta deal with the ramifications of it.
And that's what I always tell my guys here too.
Yeah.
I don't, give me an idea if it's good and I like it, we'll run with it. I said, but please, when I say this is how it's going to be, this is how it's going to be, because either way, I'm answerable for it.
You're answerable.
So it's going to be me making the final call, and I'll take the heat either way. But if I say do it away, it's my way.
Yeah.
End of story.
I found it also very good to surround your core. You have a core people that you work with all of the time, and if they have better talents than you do, in whether it's in carpentry or whether it's in welding or this or this or this, you surround yourself with those really good people, and they make you look good too.
Oh yeah.
But I've always, no, this is you. Thank you for doing this, And I was able at Bally's, I had such a good
You had
core.
Al Martin,
I had Al Martin, I
You
had
had
Scott
Millie?
Morrell, I
Scott
had Joe
Morrell.
Milley.
Joe Milley.
I had guys that were cabinet makers for carpenters and stuff, and I'd actually have to tell them, nobody's going to see it. This isn't a cabinet, just get it done. I'd have, come on, guys. And they're matching the grain of wood, and I'm like, no, I'm going to paint it. But I had such a good crew of people that they made me look good too.
Oh, yeah.
And that was very, very important in getting the job done and keeping the sets pristine after 35 years
Of him building the show.
of him building it.
You know, when you built the Jubilee show, how long was it supposed to last?
5 years.
5 years.
And it went 34 and a half years before
Supposed
they
to last
closed the
5
show.
years.
5 years.
And I spent a
Wow.
lot of that time maintaining it. You know, and between that and all the other acts and the show changes, and we had the 20th anniversary of BET there, which that was 6 months of me becoming head carpenter. Suddenly I have that show to put in. That was brutal. So,
No, it looked good when I went over there, when I met you over there to go pick up, I can't remember, I think it was Dice Clay's stuff. I don't remember, but you knew where it was. And I took a walk. See, I never saw Jubilee. I never went and saw it. You know, I never, I could tell you how it all went together because I was right there with these two the whole time, you know, but never saw the show. And went through and I looked at all of it and I was like, wow. And I think I told you, I said, you're doing a good job of keeping this up. It looks good. You know, everything still looks nice. It doesn't look beat up or, haggard. And
I think in our trade, what we do is we go in, and I'll bet Alfred has the same thing. We go in and we build a show. We help design it. We lay it out. We install it. We walk away from it, and we don't look back. So you never really see the product that you put in at the final stages. There's several people that I know, like Joe McGeo, and that they actually go see their shows that they've installed. And but I don't go see the show. I did the O show. I did a couple other Cirque shows where I installed, and I've never seen them. Have no idea how they. And we just in our trade we seem not to go back and watch it.
well, this will be the end of this episode. You guys good for another one? Just to touch on anything else we've missed?
I don't know of anything we missed.
Let's do it again on another day. Try.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can do that too. Yeah,
Let's
this has
do it
been
again.
great, man. I've very happy to have all three of you.
Let's
If I know
remember the
you,
memories.
You know your dad has lightning reflexes, huh?
yeah,
Didn't know that before.
yeah, I did. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Hey, he was quick, boy.
slap upside the head, bang. Oh, where'd that come from?
Dad.
Yeah,
Quit that.
yeah, we knew that he had lightning reflexes on that stuff.
My brother
Gil
had.
was a smart ass. You learned that.
Gil was a smart ass, yeah. Gordon, but all my uncles were so good at their jobs and stuff like that, and I was the beneficiary because they were all around. They would tell me, especially my uncle Gordon, because he was Mr. Audio in this town. To be tutored by him on a lot of that was, I had the best family teachers. I had great people that taught me in the trades in the construction. I mean,
I had a bunch of old stagehands yelling at me. You're a house kid. You should know better.
yeah, well, we all had that same thing. You come up through the family, and it's other people's jobs to give you crap. So that's,
And having the family behind you, it was a good thing.
yeah.
You learned a lot. I learned a lot. He learned a lot. And one of the downfalls is if you do something wrong, they don't usually scold you. They call your family,
Yep.
and then your family nails you. But that was good.
But
you
that's-
don't, at that time you didn't think it was good, but
Yeah.
it was good.
No, and that's how it was, because you reflected on the whole family, and that was good. No.
In the very beginning, when I started, because this was a trade of families, the Hayeses and so on and so forth, people would come up to me and say, "Well, how'd you get here? Who's your family?" And I said, "Well, I don't know anybody. I just started." And you're here,
Yeah.
and
Well, even when I started, it was still family.
Yeah.
The Diamonds, the Hazes, the
Yeah.
Ritzes, the everybody.
And they would keep saying, well, how'd you get here? Who's your family? No, I don't have anybody in the trade. Don't know anything about it.
That was in '63.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, Thank you, man. This has been a great, and I'd
I'll-
love to do this again if we get a chance to do it. And I'll have a third mic so we can all hear a little bit better with each other what's going on here.
I would
And
like to say thank you, Mr. Hayes, for inviting us to your podcast, and I'd like to thank the Westgate and letting us sit in the Elvis Presley dressing room and talking with you about, what are you, kiss ass? What is this? I got brown nosing here.
yeah, he's brown nose death perception.
And it's been fun to reminisce
Yeah.
with the family and your family and talk about all this. And yes, we should do this again one day. Because what we will do is we'll remember older memories and different memories next
Yeah.
time and go from there.
Bring them on. So
So thank you.
thank you again, guys. But before we leave, let's get a couple pictures so I can put it on the thing when I get this all done. Anyways,
Pictures?
yeah, I got to get a couple photos of you
That's why I
because
wore my Raiders hat. Raiders!
more sucking up to the hometown. Okay, there we go. Anyways, thank you. Yeah, Talbot, take it away.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.